Warning, incoming game over. Warning, incoming game over.
Hello, everybody. Welcome. Welcome to Game Over Winnipeg's post-game show from tonight's game between the Winnipeg Jets and the Carolina Hurricanes. My name is Ty Dilello, and I'm the host here at Game Over Winnipeg. And if you're not aware, it was a big 3-0 victory for your hometown Winnipeg Jets over the Carolina Hurricanes. That makes it 7 wins in a row for the Winnipeg Jets. They're playing some really, really good hockey right now. First in the NHL, first in the division, first in the conference. There's a lot to like, from tonight's game, from how the Jets are playing as of late, and we'll kind of get into all of that. Before I do, just want to give a quick shout out to our title sponsor. Love the ad reads. That's for Hyperdrive Hockey. So please check out the flagship show of Game Over Network on the Game Over Network channel, Hyperdrive Hockey, which is all things hockey across various leagues in multiple countries. Whatever it is and wherever it is, Max, Daphne, and Kev have you covered for all of your hockey news with a steady dose of fun and fan engagement. So you can find Hyperdrive Hockey on the Game Over Network YouTube channel or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts on the Hyperdrive Hockey page at thegameovernetwork.com. So, yeah, great game tonight by the Winnipeg Jets. The Jets, well, first off, Eric Comrie was in net, and he put together, I would say, his best performance probably as a Jet, in both of his kind of tenures here. Comrie was fantastic. I thought the shutout would get ruined at some points, over tonight's game, but he made a 29 save, nearly 30 save shutout tonight. A very important win for him. I think there was a lot of questions on whether or not Comrie would, even get one of the games, this week, Carolina today and New York Islanders on Friday. And probably people thought if give him the Islanders game, as obviously Carolina is one of the top teams in the league, and the Islanders are not, to put it that way. So, not a risky move by Scott Arniel, but giving Comrie, not just a safety game, throw him in against a star-studded, Carolina Hurricanes team, which we'll be talking about, in the second segment for sure. And he was up to the challenge all night long. So it was, very impressive to see Eric Comrie, perform like that. Game kind of started funny. It was a game of kind of goals scored and goals taken away. Tonight I thought Carolina kind of had the jump on the Jets early on. The first, pretty much most of the first period. But midway through the period, the Jets took a penalty. I thought to that point Carolina was the better team. And then Carolina, scored, on the power play. But it came back as no goal for goalie interference, and I don't know. I thought this one was going to be. I thought it would be tough to overturn. I thought if you saw the play, there was a little bit of contact on Comrie. It's hard to, I guess, explain it. You'd have to watch it, but there was kind of very minimal contact, but it was enough to to overturn it. And we'll get to that because we're going to talk about what happened later in the game, if you're not aware. But there were multiple, challenges for goal interference on goals tonight. Some of them were turned back and some of them weren't. This one was turned back, in Winnipeg's favor, so the score stayed 0-0. The Jets, went on to kill off that penalty. And then just before the period ends, the Jets get a power play. PP1's out there. They don't produce, but PP2, gets the later stages of the power play, and they deliver. Niederreiter scored his 14th goal of the season, assisted from Alex Iafallo and Vladislav Nemesnikov with about 40 seconds left in the first period. And it was a nice, pretty passing play that Niederreiter finished off with a shot in the slot to score. those kind of the second, third line for the Jets. I know it's power play, but the second, third line for the Jets kind of staying hot. They're producing. That second power play unit's been producing as of late. It was great to see. And then as I say that, it continued right into the second period, as I thought the Jets kind of, after that first goal, the Jets were the better team for them, for the majority of the game. I felt like Carolina takes another penalty early in the second period, and again it's power play 2 that makes the Jets that makes Carolina pay. This time it was a nice slap shot from Neil Pionk on the power play, assisted from Cole Perfetti and Nito Niederreiter to make it 2-0. Which just again shows the depth, shows that the Jets can, when it's not Connor, Ehlers, Velarde, Connor, Morrissey on the ice, the Jets can score, and that was the case on all 3 goals tonight, and we'll get to that. Carolina definitely had some chances. I saw Mikko Rantanen hit a post on a goal that he should have scored. He then went and broke his stick on the bench. He's kind of, he was a very frustrated Mikko Rantanen tonight. You could tell, he had a couple chances that weren't really going his way, and that was kind of the case for not just him, but all of Carolina were getting some decent chances, but call it puck luck, call it Eric Comrie, they weren't finding its way in the back of the net. I saw Winnipegger Seth Jarvis looking at the sky, at times, just after a chance went wide or something. Sebastian Aho, a very creative, shifty centerman. He had some chances. Andrei Svechnikov had a couple of looks, but Eric Comrie was up to the task all night long. And then in the third period, the Jets again just kind of outworked Carolina tonight and did all the, not just the little things. They just played a better hockey game, plain and simple, and they got rewarded with the 2 points. The Jets scored. God, I forget what happened, but the Jets scored, and a goal got turned back in the third period. Right away, it was waved off, and then they did that, and then they scored again a couple minutes after a goal was waved off, and again it was waved off. It was Rasmus Kupari, who I guess it was called off because he was in the crease and grazed the goaltender, but he was really showing signs of stopping and not touching the goaltender. So there was clear intent there that he wasn't trying to get in the crease or anything like that. He was pushed, and then when the puck was in the crease, he just took a couple of whacks at it and it went in. So Scott Arniel did challenge that one, which I thought was maybe, I don't know, I saw it as a bit of a risky challenge because at that point there was 4 minutes left in the game. The Jets are only up by 2 goals, and if you're not right with the challenge, it's a penalty, and you don't want to give Carolina they score a power play goal, it's 2-1, and they pull the goalie, 2-0 and just 5-on-5 with 4 minutes left. I felt a lot safer, but and the more I thought about it, at the same time, I think Scott Arniel, wanted to show some, confidence in the guys that, you guys are playing the right way and you guys got rewarded. So I think, a challenge here, I think helped the, the player's psyche a bit, especially for Rasmus Kupari, who's been doing a lot of, good things and hasn't been scoring. He doesn't score a lot of goals and get a lot of points, but he's a player that's really kind of stepped up and elevated, since Adam Lowry's been injured. Kupari's been playing as the third line center as of late. And then so they challenged the play. Obviously a good intel from, the video coach, Matt Prefontaine, who Eric Comrie later said, is the best video coach in the league, in his post-game interview tonight. And it was, the goal was overturned. The call was overturned, so it was a goal. Rasmus Kupari goal from Mason Appleton and David Gustafsson to make it 3-0. And that's how the game would end. It was a 3-0 Jet shutout victory. As I said, Eric Comrie, up to the task, 29 saves for the shutout, and the Jets first in the league. Yeah, I think we're up to 38, 14-3, 79 points. I believe that's 9 points 9 points up on Edmonton, the next closest team in the West, and 2 points up on the Washington Capitals, who won tonight. Alexander Ovechkin scoring an empty netter with 1 second left to notch another goal closer to closer to the record. So yeah, Jets first place in the league. Feels really good, and you know what else feels really good? Our ad reads. So let's do another one. That was not a good segue. LaRouche. So Game Over Network is an independent production focused on community, inclusion, and quality people. So if you're interested in supporting the Game Over Network, we have crowdfunding options available to you. In the description of this episode, you'll find a link to our Patreon page, and we're also working on a page through LaRouche, which is a crowdfunding platform for companies originating in Quebec. For LaRouche, we're aiming to raise $15,000, and if we hit that goal, we'll gain access to government grants that will allow us to employ more people. If you have any ideas for what you'd like to see as giveaways from these crowdfunding efforts, please let us know in the comments on Twitter, Instagram, or our Discord server, or the Blue Sky app, which is kind of the new Twitter that myself and a lot of the Game Over hosts have kind of migrated over to. It's pretty cool. Check it out. Check us out. Give us a follow. Or just talk to me in the comments here if you're watching the show right now, because I got nothing. I see Pelly Lindbergh in the chat. I will get to you, Pelly. Yeah, if you're out there, just please chime in. It's not always fun talking to myself here, so I'm always happy to go back and forth with somebody and talk about hockey, talk about the Jets, talk about the game. Yeah, we're pretty easy here at the Game Over Network, so yeah, feel free to reach out. Okay, Pelly Lindbergh in the chat. Great goaltender, Pelly Lindbergh, rest in peace. Pelly says, 7 in a row. What do you think is behind this winning streak? Well, Pelly, great comment, great question. I would chalk a lot of it up to just playing the right way. Kind of, I think the Jets have played the right way a lot, this season, and maybe they've definitely been rewarded for it. I would say most of the year, but in hockey there's so much parity. As good as the Jets are, as good as you don't win every single night. In this league, you can be just a little bit off, and teams are kind of going to get the jump on you. So, the Jets are, I would say, doing the better job of getting the kind of the early jump on teams, on the scoreboard, and just not hanging on, but they're playing really well with a lead. They're getting good goaltending from Connor Hellebuck, and I'll say Eric Comrie. Obviously, they're going to get good goaltending from Hellebuck, but he's been fantastic, over this last stretch. Aside from the Washington game, aside from that one goal, so it's impressive. And then Pelly says it's too bad the Four Nations break is right there to lose momentum. Yeah, that is a good point. The Winnipeg Jets do have one more game before the Four Nations break, and that's on Friday. So another 2-day break for the Jets before they play one more home game. That's against the New York Islanders. I know the Jets really want to win that one to go into the break on a good note. And then they're shut down for 2 weeks. Then a couple, 3 of the players, Morrissey, Kyle Connor, and Hellebuck. Mark Scheifele should be going, but he's not. They go off to the Four Nations Cup. They play, a couple games, 3-4 games at least. And then the other players are, going to probably do some skating. Maybe they go on a little, a lot of them are probably going to go on a short vacation to somewhere warm, I would imagine. But they're going to come back and, I assume start skating with about a week left, before they start playing games again. So, it's definitely going to be a bit of a, I don't know. I don't like going into breaks. When you've had so much momentum, like when you've won all these games. That was kind of what the Jets have done over the years. I know if they win on Friday, it'll be 8 wins in a row, and then a 2-week break. I'm always kind of nervous about when they come back to action 2 weeks later. Are we going to get the same Jets from the last game against New York and Carolina? Or are we going to get kind of a rusty, slow team, struggling to find their game? So I don't know, but also at the same time, That's going to be the case for every team in the NHL. Every team in the NHL is going to be going through this, and having this 2 week break with most of their players not being at the Four Nations Cup. So kind of uncharted water. We'll see what happens. But at the end of the day, the Jets are just banking points right now in the standings. Extending their lead on the division, conference, and league standings, which is we want that finish as high as we can for that playoffs. Obviously the big goal right now is to win the West, get the 1 seed, and then you play that kind of crappy Calgary or Vancouver in round 1. As opposed to getting a Colorado, Vegas, Dallas, all that, those teams that the Jets do not want to see. So yeah, Corey Anaka, thank you for reaching out in the chat. He says, NHL, look out for the Jets. They are for real. Yeah, that's true, Corey. Appreciate you reaching out and watching the show in the comment. Yeah, appreciate that. The Jets are definitely for real. They've kind of done all we could ask for it. It's all that's left really is the playoffs, and winning some rounds and being in the mix for a Stanley Cup. It's kind of what we want to see now from the Jets. So they've done all that we can ask for them, which is exciting. And let's just kind of see what these next couple months look like. Let's see what the Jets can do at the deadline. How can we upgrade our team and make us as dynamic as possible for round 1, because the playoffs, totally different game of hockey, totally different style, much more physical, not much space on the ice. The Jets have struggled in the last 2 playoff rounds, so fingers crossed this year is different. Do another ad read here as we go to period 3. Game on Winnipeg. Yeah. So Game Over, what you're watching right now, has you covered after the game. But in order to get ready to watch the Jets, you've got to get your game on too. So Game on Winnipeg is a short form daily news podcast covering everything you need to know about the Winnipeg Jets. Debuting soon for the playoffs next year. I don't know when it's going to debut, hopefully soon. You can get all your Winnipeg Jets news in under 10 minutes, Monday through Friday, on the Game Over Winnipeg YouTube channel, and in podcast form, which you can find at thegameovernetwork.com/pages/Winnipeg. All right. You're not going to be able to listen to this if you're listening to the podcast later, but I actually got something in the mail from the Winnipeg Jets today. Kind of oddly enough, I went to my mailbox. I don't check it every day. I check it every few days, and there was a little package addressed to me from the Winnipeg Jets. My mind started, what's that about? I am a quarter season ticket holder, so I go to about 11, 12 games a season through that. I go with my brother Braden, who, if you watch the show, he was here at the beginning of the year. Doesn't do this anymore for some reasons. But yeah, I got a little package in the mail from the Jets today, and in it was a nice little letter, from Mark Chipman, just kind of talking about how good the season's been going. How they're, the team is, or the organization is very pleased with kind of the uptick in the fans this year. Which is nice to see, and just how they their commitment to making the arena even better, and just their commitment to doing, whatever it is possible to, get that season ticket base up to 13,000. So, they also sent little pamphlets, regarding next year's regular season tickets and this year's playoff tickets, because, the playoff tickets for this year will definitely be in hot commodity as it's gonna be a very fun time, the whiteouts in Winnipeg. But that wasn't the gift. They sent it with the gift. So they got a little box here. And we got this. I was like, oh, that's really cool. They're four Winnipeg Jets coasters, and they're really good, very nice quality. Hold it up. So I guess if you're a season ticket holder this year, if you're a quarter, full, or half, they send you this. Yeah, there's a nice picture of Lowry after a game, Hellebuck, Morrissey, Shifley, Connor, and Gabriel Velarde. So there's the Velarde one. You know, good quality stuff. And that's what the show's kind of come to. I'm kind of going through some Jets coasters. But anyways, I thought it was a nice gesture from the organization. They didn't have to do that. I know I get a member gift. I believe I'm getting a Jets cooler bag still. So, but I'll definitely take these coasters. Yeah, I wanted to talk also while we're still here. I want to talk a little bit about the Carolina Hurricanes, tonight's opposition, because they're a team that I've really liked for a long time. Yeah, I've always really liked the Carolina Hurricanes. They've been a good playoff team. They just can't get to the Stanley Cup final. You know, they've been to the conference finals 2 or 3 times and have been swept each time. So they're a very talented, deep lineup. I think at times the goaltending hasn't been there. This season I really like their tandem. For the playoffs, if Freddie Anderson, if he can actually stay healthy, I know he's got his injury for this season. Hopefully it's out of the way now. Like, he's back. Hopefully he's good until next season. If he can just play, even half the games, and then they split for the playoffs, that's great. Pyotr Koshekov, definitely a very talented young netminder who's going to get better in the years to come. He's going to become the full-time starter. Once Freddie's out of there, which is going to be very, very soon. But so they do have the goaltending if healthy. And kind of going through their back ends, they got a lot of good defenders, and Jacob Slavin, Dmitry Orlov. We saw Orlov block a lot of shots. I felt like he was always on the screen tonight. They got Gostisbehere, Brent Burns. I know he's 39 years old, but it's still Brent Burns. So they got some good defenders. And then offensively, they got some really good players. Mikko Rantanen, you got to start with him. One top 10 player in the league. We'll talk about him in a second. But Sebastian Aho, Andrei Svechnikov, Winnipeg Seth Jarvis, very good hockey player. Taylor Hall, Jackson Blake, a rookie, comes from Fargo, North Dakota. Very good player. And then they got just good third, kind of fourth line players, kind of like the Jets. Like, they're just kind of, the whole forward group is very deep. Kakaniemi, Jordan Staal. Jordan Staal is kind of their Adam Lowry. Jordan Martinuk, Jack Roslovic, former Winnipeg Jet, beloved Winnipeg Jet, not Eric Robinson, etc. So, this is a very good hockey team that's always been and is this year like a top team in the East for a reason. And I'm really curious to see what their kind of trade deadline is going to look like. I wonder who they add. I know they've already added Hall and Rantanen. Taylor Hall did not look good tonight. He was, especially that the second period was a really bad period for him. He took a penalty, took 1 or 2 penalties. He's on the ice. He kind of gave up on one of the goals. I didn't like Taylor Hall's game tonight. Obviously, he's a good player. He's had a good career, but I don't think he's helping you win. He's not helping you win right now. Hopefully, he kind of gets acclimated to his teammates, in time for the playoffs and is able to, produce. Because I think that's ultimately what they traded for him. To get for him is to, get him for a playoff run, and hopefully he can, show that he still's got some moxie. Mikko Rantanen's the other kind of key slog in all this. Mikko Rantanen, I think that if I were Carolina, and I would assume they are, they're doing their due diligence. They should be talking with, Rantanen's representation, his agent, and really try to hammer out a deal before the trade deadline, or at least find out if he's open to re-signing in Carolina by the deadline, because you don't want this to become like a Jake Gensel situation, and Rantanen is a much better player than Gensel. They gave up a lot more to get, Rantanen than Gensel. Martin Necas is a fantastic hockey player and a superstar in this league, as well. Obviously a little bit lesser than Rantanen right now, but you cannot lose Rantanen for nothing after this year. You can't just have Rantanen play with you for this the rest of the season and the playoff run, and for him to walk like Gensel did. So I think you really try hard to re-sign him before the deadline, and if not, will he be on the move again? I don't know. Like, will Rantanen, and if things aren't going well in Carolina the first month, if he's not, I saw some frustration tonight. Will they deal him at the deadline? I don't know. I just think it's a possibility if he does not get re-signed by that time. He very well could. Obviously Carolina traded for him for a reason to do that. I assume that they're gonna throw the bag at him. They'll make him the highest paid, not just the highest paid winger in the league, but they'll pay him up there with the NHL's top salaries. Especially with all this news of the cap rising. I think Rantanen will probably secure $15 million. Either by Carolina or on the open market, or he plays out the rest of the season and then resigns again in Colorado in the off season, which I think is a possibility as well. So we'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, I'm very curious to see what Carolina's gonna do there. So let's go to overtime. Let's throw up the merch now on the screen. We're just kind of closing down. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to put them in the chat. Yeah, we'll just go quickly here to the merch, which is always I always love talking about the merch because it's kind of the designs are great. It's like a different way to kind of wear, like, if you're a Winnipeg Jets fan, it's kind of like a different alternative brand of like Jets clothing, I feel like. So with that, what better way to support something you love than by rocking it as clothing? Game Over's apparel line has dropped with 3 unique designs. Whether you feel the nostalgic pull of our retro skater design, want to make a statement with your established design, which is currently on sale, want to wear your love for goalies proudly with our Live and Die by the Goalie design, or if you just need another copy to get you through the winter, we kind of got you covered. So please use the QR code that's on the stream now, and why don't you take a look through our apparel store, pick something up, and maybe help us rebuild local sports media in Canada while repping your community. So very nice, some very nice stuff. If you're watching this, check it out. All right, I'll put me back up there. Hi, how's it going? I'll just leave it up for a couple of minutes here. Just if you have any questions or comments, if you're watching, I see we have a couple viewers. We never get the same viewership here as the other, Game Overs, which is kind of sad. Even though we're easily the best Canadian hockey team, not easily, but we're definitely the best Canadian hockey team this year. But our viewership, on these shows suggests otherwise, that we're an AHL farm team of this. So the Game Over, our team, and I guess myself, have to do a better job of getting this out there to Winnipeg Jets fans, as we're a very passionate, very passionate fan base. And I guess I know there's so many other Winnipeg Jets, post-game shows, but yeah, I guess we want you to watch this one. Okay, we got Pelly Lindbergh says, when will Lambert play? I don't know. I've been kind of talking about that for a while. I think this is about the 5th or 6th game that he's been up with the team and he's been scratched. I get it for a couple of reasons. I know that he will play if it's a top 6 injury, but because it's a bottom 6 injury, you're playing Patrick Ford. Is that his name? Yeah, Ford and David Gustafson. I don't know. I still feel that Brad Lambert should be getting a couple of these games just to dip his feet and get his feet wet in the NHL more. You've called him up. He's not playing for the Moose now. He's solely playing for the. He's doing these practice skates with the team and stuff. You got to get him into game action. I really want to see him in the lineup on Friday. The last game before he goes back down. To the Moose, I assume for the for the break, or if he'll get sent down even tomorrow or something. I don't know. Patrick Ford's been fine, I guess, serviceable in that role, but Brad Lambert is one of the Jets. He is the Jets' top prospect, I would say still. And you got to just throw him, get him some games, and you got to get him acclimated to playing in the NHL, because he's going to be hopefully in the top 6 next year. Full time. That's kind of, I think, what the Jets are hoping for, especially if we lose Nikolai Ehlers. In the off season, if he doesn't choose to resign here, we're gonna have a big hole to fill, and then also just holes to fill anyway. Like, you need entry level contracts to make up your team for contenders. So yeah, I hope Brad Lambert will play on Friday night against New York Islanders, but I will say that I wouldn't be surprised if not, just because of how things have gone this far. So yeah, and with that, I guess we'll let you go. So we will be back here on Friday, because the Jets get 2 days off. So we'll be back. I'll be back Friday night after a 7 p.m. home game against the New York Islanders. It is the Jets' last game before the Four Nations break. So yeah, join myself here. Likely 5 to 15 minutes after the game ends. Here on the Winnipeg Game Over YouTube page. And yeah, we'll be talking about the game. We'll talk about the Four Nations break and the Four Nations Cup itself, and talk about how the Jets season has been to that point, which has been pretty damn good. So take care, everybody, and we'll see you guys on Friday. All right, ciao.